Hey, Elfin, I'm not.
Oh no!
Pete!
Why are you so happy? Did you get some sleep?
No.
I bring joy to everybody, Gecko. You ought to know that.
Nice to see many OGs coming back for this town hall.
Yeah, there's a lot of names in here I ain't seen in a while.
Speaking of names you haven't seen him since last year. Hey, Phil.
Oh, yeah, that guy goes on holidays all the time.
Wow, he must be a new member.
Yeah, welcome to Oak Park.
Maybe he should fill us in on where he's been.
Can I tell you
That's the
about
first
the
thing he
first 25, sir?
Oh.
Please don't.
Phil.
You having microphone
You-
issues again, Phil?
I've been mainly in the bathroom
Oh Lord.
every AMA.
What?
Where most people do their best thinking.
Can't deny.
We need a lot of that.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining. Pretty big night for us, and what we'll do is I'll run through the announcement, and then you guys will inevitably have tons of questions. So we will open up for an opportunity for you to ask those questions. So there's a lot to digest. So I'll go as slowly as I possibly can, and I'll try and make it as simple as I can. So first of all, for those of you who are more recent members of our community, you'll know that for the last nearly 6 years now, we've been developing this platform, and I believe we've got to a point where the product is starting to take shape, the vault is starting to progress and come along, and we've got a chance at finding that product market fit and really sort of taking that to the next level. We're really happy with the way that the technology is starting to be integrated a lot faster. It's allowing us to do a lot more. And as those of you who have been with us for some time, you know that we're up to version 126 now. So from the product side, we're pretty content with where we're at, given what we've been through and how hard we've worked over the years. But we also listen very acutely to what you guys tell us, what you say, where you think we could improve. And the main areas where you've talked about are we need rewards, we need incentives to be able to bring in people into the community. We need to widen the net. We need to market more. We need to deal with influencers. We need to really sort of start to let the world know what it is that we're actually building. Part of our ongoing plan and pathway towards decentralization, as you know, was to open up the platform and to make it more accessible, wider, and therefore we've been working on something for the last 18 months or thereabouts to try and address all of the issues that you've had and balance that with what we're doing, and that is building a lasting product. Where just before I go to the next piece, it's extremely important that you understand that our commitment to the vault, the products, the API and the SDKs that we're building, that is very much still our focus, and that is what we want to focus on. And we feel that this plan gives us the ability to be able to do that, as well as also taking care of a lot of the community's needs, and again, opening that up to you guys to be greater participants and have a much larger bearing in what's happening. So what we're going to do tonight is introduce you to the Orange Network. The Orange Network is the step and pathway to a much wider audience, and it's an opportunity for us to, as I say, take that next step in scaling, bringing on a larger audience, and also to continuing on what we're actually doing. But most importantly, getting to a point where we can start to really open this up, get eyeballs on what it is that we're actually building, but also cater to a much wider audience and much larger audience. There you go. You've already got Orange. There you go. Cool name, huh? So Orange is a layer one blockchain that is EVM compatible, built on an Avalanche subnet. We are very much involved in helping set that up and get that running. And then what will happen is the community and people involved, there you go, it's very memeable, isn't it? Wait till you hear the rest. Will be involved in really sort of progressing this and taking this to the next level. And again, people had sort of said, you guys aren't marketing, you're not focused on widening that net. We deliberately, and as you know, we've been in this space building this exact project for the last 6 years. It's a matter of timing. The other thing that we want to take into consideration is the feedback that you gave us in saying, when are you going to start putting through large volumes of transactions? VFOX holders want that. RFOX holders want greater utility. So you've always got that balance and the gun to your head, so to speak, to try and work out how to build quickly, how to build in a direction that makes the end users happy, but also building and delivering things which appease token holders as well. So it's a matter of timing. And hand on heart, and this is why we're doing this right now, hand on heart, we know that it's going to take some time to find that product market fit. It's taken a lot longer than people would have probably liked or wanted, but we're really proud and happy of what we've built and where we're at. So bearing all of that in mind, now's the right time to do this, because what we want to do is make sure that people can capitalize during this upcoming run and market. So that's very, very important. Yes, Fralek, we're going to provide you with all of the links. We've tried to keep this as stealth as possible. And although we've been sort of tinkering around with it for 18 months behind the scenes, I'll go into some more details. We've sort of held back from launching stuff until right now. So we'll provide you with links. Don't get suckered into going to wrong links and all the rest of it. So let me tell you a little bit about the chain and the network and how that will work and how that affects you as token holders and what that means going forwards. So the token, the chain will be a dual token system. It'll have a native gas token. Anyone want to guess what the native gas token for the Orange network would be called? If the governance and rewards token is called Orange, what would it be called?
Pineapple.
Orange
No.
Fox.
No. Red, no.
Leprechaun.
Think of something related to
CJ,
Orange.
why do you have to be so clever?
Gas. There you go. I'll give you a prize for that, mate. You got it. So I want to just tell you a little analogy before I go into this, because it's very apt and it's helped me tremendously over the last 5 or 6 years. I was speaking to one of the VCs when we first started and we were considering funding, and they said, you've got this really stark comparison. You've got Hollywood movies where people come in with machine guns and hatchets, and they are extremely well choreographed and put together with top flight actors. And if a person pulls out a gun, every single person in the audience knows what type of gun that is. And if they shoot that person, they know whether or not that gun would do whatever the movie's showing to that person, whether it's real to life. And they're extremely critical when things aren't exactly right. And that's what you expect from a big budget Hollywood movie. Then you've got the Korean industry and movies where a bloke walks in with a broom handle and a piece of metal on the end, jumps in the air 40 feet and somehow magically suspends himself in the air. Another dude jumps in the air, extends his leg out to kick, and suddenly flies through the air, defying gravity. And then you end up with this some sort of horrendous, cheaply filmed leg flying across the room. But they know their audience, they know their market, and they do really, really well. The point of that analogy is you compete to the level that you know that you can compete, and you try and capture the market that you're trying to capture, and you try and do things in your own way. You shouldn't be following the same types of formula. You should be making sure that this, and in our case, that this is open for people to come in, have a bit of fun with. The modus operandus for the Orange network is to make blockchain simpler. So the emphasis, as per your requests, will be on marketing, and you're going to see lots of influencer involvement, lots of marketing, and there's going to be lots of stuff that you'll see that you're going to say, how come RFOX didn't do that a year ago? Or how come RFOX didn't do that 2 years ago? There's a real reason for that. And the reason for that is the product has to be at a certain level before you can do that. Here we go. We've got lots of memes and stuff like that. Okay. So how does it affect you as holders and all the rest of it? So I'll start with the NFTs because that's the easiest part. So if you're holding apartments, citizens, districts, or any of those, going forward, you will receive rewards. So we'll announce that shortly, but you'll receive a form of soft staking rewards for holding those. As far as COGS are concerned, we firmly still believe that COGS has a real chance to resurge during this upcoming market. It's a great IP. It needs some help and attention, and we're going to announce on Friday what that means for COGS. It's pretty exciting. We're very happy with the potential that has, and can't wait to share that with you. today is much more about the transition and how this will all work. So what we're going to be doing is migrating across to the JUICE, to the gas token. The important thing to remember, because the first question that I got when we ran this through with staff and through a test group was, what about the vault? What's going to happen? As I stated, all those NFTs and everything will remain exactly the same. Nothing will change. What we're going to have now is a completely separate team who will be focused on awareness, marketing, partnerships, influencer campaigns, widening the net, getting people in. And what they'll be doing is rewarding people who actually make blockchain simpler. What does RFOX's technology have to do with any of that? We will provide APIs, SDKs to the network, as well as also the Metaverse. But I just want to be very clear, if this is part of a very much a decentralized network, then ultimately it doesn't matter if our technology is the best or worst. It should be dictated by which is the best technology. So although our technology will be offered and all the tools will be there, and we are very proud to be part of that and casting our net much wider, this is exactly what the next phase needs. We're always on trial. If someone comes along with better, faster tool or better, faster technology, that would be adopted and picked up. But what you've all asked for is more eyeballs, more attention, more effort put into token holders, looking after people and making sure that that side of the business is taken care of. So that will be very much open. It will have a strong element of governance to it. It'll be very, very clear that submissions will be put forward. You won't see a team of thoughts. What you'll see is groups of people. And for example, we've already kicked off. You'll see now a big, you'll see marketing campaigns, influencer campaigns, you'll see socials. All of that is managed by other teams. And going forwards, that will be up to the Orange Network participants to decide who those teams are, what it is that you want to see introduced. Again, the RFOX Vault won't change. That will remain. Will continue. We'll be able to focus on that and not have to worry about doing anything other than providing a product that people really love to use and want to use, and really catering to the users. But this is a win-win for all parties involved. And again, another hand on heart. If we continue down the path that we were continuing down, we would continue to build. We want to build an amazing product and an amazing platform, but we also understand that now is the time to move. Now is the time to get people in, to raise that awareness, to educate people to what we have and what other people have as well. So this whole network will be focused on making it easier to onboard people, heading towards that Bezos philosophy of one click. And as we know, it's a pig, this industry thus far. That's why it's also important that we have something that's an EVM compatible chain where a lot of these tools and development stuff already exists. So we'll now be able to offer bounties and rewards and everything for people building. So how are we doing the migration? Okay, a few important points to note. So the migration will be a straight migration. We will, and just let me finish the sentence before you ask those questions. We will also be migrating across RFOX and VFOX. However, we understand, again, people have been waiting for a long time for revenue to come through, transaction volumes to come through. We're still finalising and building that stuff out. So it's important that we acknowledge and are mindful of the amount of time this is still going to take to get up and running. So what we've done is we've done something that allows everybody to benefit now. So RFOX will be a 1-for-1 swap with JUICE. The VFOX token will be at 20-1. It'll be at a higher rate. So this is, RFOX 1-to-1. We'll provide some links and I'll show you how this works, how this is structured. And what will happen is the JUICE pool has already kicked off. There is a small pool of JUICE already there. The migration process from RFOX to VFOX, this is the important part that you need to pay particular attention to. It will be available to migrate across 3 months from today. It'll be June 1, approximately 3 months from today, so June 1. Why 3 months? Why does it take that long to start the migration process? Because we've got a very focused extensive campaign on building awareness, building new audiences, building a wider net, and having the new teams that are involved really sort of build up that liquidity, build up the awareness, and to really sort of point people into that network. So the thing is, once the window opens, because I know the first question some people will ask, and that is, I like my RFOX tokens or my VFOX tokens, and I don't want to migrate them straight away. I want to hold on to them. I think we're coming into a run and they might do well. The thing is, you will have a year. You can hold those tokens for a year. They'll still be traded. We're working with exchanges now to handle the migration process for those who don't want to go through the process of migrating. We'll provide you with all the details that you need to know and understand in relation to that. The current juice price, and I'll talk to you about why juice is something that people will want as well. Juice is obviously a gas token and a transaction token, so it will be required for all transactions and settlements on the Orange network. So that's extremely important. The utility that you've been asking for is now there. The juice pool that currently exists is only of 10 million tokens on the other side. And why that's been launched now, as I said, there's going to be some extremely healthy LP rewards in the form of the Orange token for people who lock up liquidity. And we're anticipating that that will be received very well because of the types of rewards that people are going to get. The current price of juice, for those of you wondering, and we will send you links, so you will you don't have to go find it. It is currently at 3.4 cents. And again, you're looking at a 1-for-1 swap for RFOX, 20-to-1 swap for VFOX. That migration, as I said, doesn't start for 3 months. However, the tokens will be tradable on both sides. So there'll be quite lucrative incentives for people to provide liquidity on the juice side, to lock that for an extended period well after the migration comes across, and that'll give people access to that Orange token. So what we did for the last 18 months was work out how to increase our network, how to expand what it is that we're doing, how to make sure that there was the opportunity to compete against some of the other networks and platforms in bringing people in and making sure that they are that happens. But what we're also mindful of is making sure that we build at the right pace without breaking something, and knowing full well that this market is starting to heat up, and we wanted to make sure that we got our timings right for once. In retrospect, people will probably look back and say this was the right time to do that. And again, we've been sitting in this for 18 months. So this is the right time. We're at the right stage. It's not something that we just sort of thought of yesterday. This has been a long, long time in works. And I know that a couple of you had suggested or hinted that this might have been what we were doing or looking at some time ago, because there was some breadcrumbs and hints, and we sort of bashed that with a hammer and moved on. But ultimately, that's exactly where we're at. So Lala, is Lala here?
Yes, I'm here, of course.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm wondering if you can help to go through some of the questions.
Sure.
So that we can sort of get those answered. Yeah, it's an important point. We have a transition document that will answer all your questions. We've got a ton of FAQs that will explain how, why, when things happen. These are working documents, so they will have more and more detail added. The social channels, as we stated, we've been sitting on those. They've literally are launching as we speak. There'll be influencer campaigns, and there'll be proper marketing. And again, please save yourself the trouble of saying, why didn't you do this a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever? This is very much a matter of timing.
Okay, so I've just took what I have gotten from main chat. If I missed anything, feel free to just add on under mine or just add on as we go. First question is, will the Orange chain be solely used for RFOX Vault related products or opened up to other projects and products?
It's open. So this is an open network. RFOX will be like a client vendor partner to the Orange network. And that's why I said a truly decentralized network, which is, we've always said that that's the pathway that we'd go. And don't forget, we always said that the Vault was an example of what can be built with our tools. And we were always of the opinion that people would come in, pick up those tools, and build things far better than we could. As far as the API and SDK that we would provide, that has far wider reaching effects and applications as well. So the short answer to your question is this is something that becomes much greater utility because this token would be required to transact for every transaction that goes through the chain. So, and it wouldn't matter if there's 1,000 projects that launch on the chain and on the network, they would all use that gas token.
All right. Second question. Is RFOX or any of the members on the founding team of Orange?
A foundation will be is currently being set up at the moment. So we're helping with the transition of setting that up. But ultimately, that will be the foundation will be set up by people that have put their hands up and said we're coming in and going to sit on that board on the foundation. But as far as all of the stuff that goes through the community and the governance and the democratic side of things, that will be open, and it will be an open chain and network exactly how it should be. So we will still have active participation and interest, but ultimately this will be run by completely separate groups of people and teams.
Next up, will there be an Orange airdrop for RFOX holders?
So there'll be the migration across, as we've stated. What there'll also be is an opportunity for people to stake and earn, and also to participate and earn as well. That's something that's pretty important. We will also, from the RFOX side, we will also be involved in rewards and awards for getting people to participate on the platform overall. So there won't be a direct airdrop like if you've got X. It'll be if you've got and holding NFTs, you will have a form of reward. And if you're participating in the platform, testing, bringing people in, and helping to increase the knowledge in the network, there'll be community rewards.
All right, next one. Help me understand a bit more why you did this pivot. Orange is not a known brand, or am I asleep? Not mad, just a little bit surprised.
Yeah, so I think the thing that's really important is that we have a wider network and platform to be able to reach a lot of different people. We've as RFOX, we've sort of built and we've built a community, and we've got an amazing community, and we want to make sure that we continue to cater to them, and especially to the users of the Vault and our products and services. I think that the pivot is something, as I said, 18 months ago we started looking at that, but we've always hinted towards that. I think even if you've been in the community for 4 or 5 years, we talked way back in the day about heading in this direction when the time was right. So it's not a known brand, that's 100% correct. But the thing is, for this to be an open and wide casted net, we can lend assistance through the products and the development and the metaverse and all the rest of it. But ultimately, this has to be built by the creators, the developers, and the users. So we've got a lot of support coming as well. So we'll announce that quite shortly. But there'll be lots of different parties and companies and interests involved in making this a success.
All right. So what you're saying is that you're outsourcing certain things like marketing.
So when it comes to Orange, that will be handled by the network, by the community. So there'll be lots of, like I say, this will be much more about contracted workers, about people that are coming in to do, people putting in submissions and getting rewards. For those of you who haven't seen that type of system before, it's quite common in the space where people will submit proposals and they will have rewards or a bounty for doing that, whether that be, for example, someone comes and says, for example, I want to create a new wallet or a marketplace or an NFT offering or some sort of new created tool. There will be bounties, there'd be submissions, and then that would be go through a ratification process and voting, and then people would decide whether or not that's something that's that adds value to the network. So that would be done. That would be done by the community and by the network, not by a centralized team.
All right. Next question. So you're pivoting from RFOX and VFOX to Orange. Does that mean it's deleting the RFOX VFOX token?
Yes. So as I said, you'd have a year to migrate or a year to change across to the Juice token. For 1 year after that goes live, so June 1, 2025, there'll still be full support, trading, and all the rest of it for RFOX and VFOX. But the idea is to replace that. Yes.
All right. So the next question is, any new exchange listings?
I hope that they will be much more fruitful than we had been with exchange listings for sure and certain. And I think because it's something that's new and they have an opportunity to do well out of it, I anticipate no issues in exchange listings at all.
What is the max supply of juice?
So there will be a max supply, but whether it's all used or not is entirely, again, that will be up to the community. There'll be stuff will be put up for voting and all the rest of it as far as what it gets used for. But we wanted to allow, we did listen, we did hear what you were saying. We wanted to allow the provision for a couple of things. So one, it's a burnable token. So it may be decided that fees collected are burned, or there might be periods where fees are burned or a percentage of fees are burned to provide some deflation there. But the maximum supply that there could ever be would be 3 billion. However, there's a large amount, so 580 million plus, that are there for proposals and for people to put forward if they want to. Because one of the things that we keep getting told is there's no provision for further rewards or staking or for enticing people into the community. So this allows that to happen. So what we did was we've set a limit to it, but it's entirely up to the community on what gets used or what doesn't get used. If people decided that they wanted to burn them all, then you could burn them all.
All right. Last one for the first set of questions. Is there a snapshot, or can we accumulate RFOX still?
No, you can still accumulate. So what will happen is the Juice token is already live now. We'll put in the links to the pools so that you can actually find the right one. But it's pretty simple to find as well if you're searching on through AVAX on the Avalanche chain. You'll see the pool. I think it's currently, last I checked, it was about 3.4 cents and it had about $620,000 of liquidity in the pool.
All right. So I'm going for the next set of questions. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just list them out. I'll take them as we go. What happens to me, RFOX, after 1 year if I don't swap?
So we won't support the token any longer after a year. So it would have to be swapped out by June 1, 2025.
All right. Next one. Will I still get the 1% rewards from the vault with VFOX?
No. So what we're doing is we know that by the time we sort of get the revenues in, it's taking longer than we would like or expect. We need to still make sure the platform's stable and the tools are enabling people to come in and build things to generate that income. So what we did was we decided to pay that out at a fair value at a higher rate than it's ever traded at, in exchange for melding that in.
All right. Did the Orange Network buy RFOX or a major investor into RFOX, or do RFOX have a large investment in Orange?
So it's more like I say, a client vendor relationship where that is privately funded. We are they haven't invested in us, and we haven't. We as RFOX have not invested in them. As I say, it'll be a separate team running that, but it's obviously going to benefit our ecosystem hugely.
Next one. Is there a snapshot? If so, do the snapshots also include RFOX VFOX LP tokens, BNB, RFOX LP tokens, etc.?
No, there's no need for any snapshots, because what will happen is there'll be a migration process, which will explain clearly to you, that will just effectively be a claim process where you can just say, here, I've got these tokens, give me those tokens. But again, if you say, look, I think I'm better off to hold RFOX or VFOX for the foreseeable future, I think that's definitely the right way to go. Then you are at liberty to do that. You've got a year, so you can hold those tokens, no problems at all.
Gotcha. Next one. How will the transaction revenue sharing from the vault be dealt with?
We'll address that part later, but ultimately, as you can see at the moment, there's no revenue really coming through the gates. What we're focused on at the moment is making sure that we finish those tools and that we're getting the onboarding process to be smoother so that we can start bringing more people on. So we anticipate that that's still going to take time, and that's exactly why we made this decision based on the feedback that we've received as well. We understand that it's a longer term proposition, so we'll address that. We'll address that later when we get closer to the time.
Next one. Are all RFOX related stuff like COGS, citizens, etc. moving to the Orange chain, or are they staying where they are?
So for now, they'll stay where they are. You'll still be able to trade them on the same marketplaces, and nothing will change. The utility is exactly the same. As I say, the only difference is that you would now be eligible for rewards going forwards. Whether they migrate down the track, that is an option that is open to us. But ultimately, at this stage, they will stay where they are, and nothing will change.
I know you have spoken highly of that previously a lot. Can you give any insight comparison that helps understand AVAX choice, etc.?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. We spent a lot of time doing a lot of research, and obviously things change over the course of time. But what was really important was having something that was EVM compatible. We've got the luxury of knowing and being connected to a lot of the other chain operators. And some of the consistent feedback that I've been given from the founders of those was that if it isn't EVM compatible, you need to work out how to try and make it EVM compatible quickly, because there's building is harder, transitioning people across is harder, onboarding people is harder. So one of the main prerequisites was to find technology that was EVM compatible. We wanted fast transaction times, the scalability side of things, and we feel as though the AVAX technology has handled the trilemma of speed, security, and cost well. It definitely serves the purpose of what we were trying to do. So we did look at a lot of different options. We talked to a lot of different technology providers, all the big ones. Everybody got a lot of advice along the way, a lot of people that sort of helped out. And ultimately, I think in the end, it was a relatively clear choice for us.
All right. Third set of questions. What is the plan for the apartment and citizens that RFOX holds?
So as stated, the NFTs side of things, it wouldn't change. Nothing would change. So any plans that we had for the NFTs would remain the same. We would just continue as normal. Like I said, the vault is a major priority for us. We want to make sure that we get this right. We do feel the pressure of building in two different directions of, I mean, I know that some of you, I get DMs from you guys all the time saying stuff like, I actually went into the vault, had a look at it, and I thought it was awesome. But I saw the token price was dropping, so I thought it must have been terrible or bad. So there's a real stigma or perception that the two things are completely tied together and related, like as inequality of the product. So I think it's sort of one of those things where we sort of thought to ourselves, this is needs a degree of separation for sure. Yeah.
All right. Next one is, what's the reason for COGS information waiting for Friday? Is it a big release?
It is, but also this is a lot of information to absorb for people. So we wanted to do this in manageable chunks. And the thing is, there is this transition piece, of course, for RFOX, but there is also a completely separate piece, which is the Orange team marketing Orange and getting people to understand that network and all the rest of it. So it's kind of two pieces already. So one's marketing to a completely new audience and a much wider spanning audience. And the COGS piece just complicates things tonight because we're trying to focus on just getting people's heads around what we're talking about now. And I've seen comments in here already saying, I don't really understand that, or can you explain more about this? So that's what this session is for. But yes, I think it's just really important to note that the RFOX Vault, and I'll mention this many times, the RFOX Vault and what we're building and developing will not change. Our focus is completely on that, and I think we've shown that we've delivered from the product side. Now, what we need, and someone wrote there, so basically what you're saying is Orange will have the F marketed out of it. Yes, so this is different to what we did. because what we were doing was building, and we're building a platform that's going to stand the test of time, and we want to make sure that it gets a fair chance to do that. From the other side of things, when you're building a community around a network, that's completely different, right? That's influencers marketing. That network and ecosystem is already, from a testnet perspective, is already there. So ultimately, the role is to build an audience, to build excitement around that, and to start attracting developers and creators and people into the ecosystem. And then when they come into that ecosystem, they're going to realize firsthand what RFOX is, what it has available, what it can actually offer. And several people had suggested, that it's good because the fact that they can offer rewards, incentives, and to do lots of campaigns, and you're going to see campaigns kick off very quickly in relation to participating, getting involved, earning rewards at the orange level. So this is something that I think ticks all the boxes, and it makes sure it addresses all that we've been hearing over the last 18 months. But more importantly, and hand on heart, like we'll say this quite honestly, people have said to me, I get lots of DMs saying, stop building, market. We don't care what you build. No one cares what anybody in this space builds. Just market, hype, sell. And that's just not what we have been about, obviously, since day one. People have said that we've got some sort of an agenda or a hidden agenda the thing is, products of this nature take time to develop. And people in the space, if you're looking for quick returns, don't have the patience to see that develop, nor the thirst or want to actually potentially use the products that are being developed. So there needs to be that clear line of separation, and ultimately everybody gets their wish there, because the marketing can happen on the orange side and the development can happen on our side.
Next question. Can you explain how the vault economy and chain availability looks in 2 years' time?
Yeah, so obviously, if you cast your mind back, and I'll mention it as though we've never talked about it before, because a lot of people would be new or had not heard this before. But ultimately, this is exactly what we actually need, because the tools that we are developing and building have far wider reaching implications than just the vault as we know. For those of you who use the vault, go in there and use the tools and the AI voice products and stuff, you will know that this has reach and implications far wider reaching. So what will happen is you'll see people that are picking up the tools or coming in to build something and then saying, hey, where could I deploy this, or where could I roll this out? And obviously having that close relationship means that we would be looked at and seen more readily. And the question that we get asked the most is, how are you going to bring in new people? It's the same people that we're seeing. I've been here for X years and the same core group of people are here. How are you going to attract more people? How are you going to get them in? This allows that to open up and to happen. And as far as the economy in the vault is concerned, it would continue as we've planned since day one. We've always said we take anything that's in your pocket and we want to make it easy for people to transact in the vault. This makes it a lot easier. But also, we have had talks with a lot of potential partners or builders or developers coming into the vault saying, oh, I'm looking at deploying on a different chain. When will you have support for this chain? Or when will you be able to integrate this chain? So the chain piece also makes it a lot easier for us, because there is also a direct option for people to be able to have a no-brainer choice of where to spin up their token and where to launch their products through. So I think it makes things a lot easier. It builds bigger roads into our offerings and our platform. So I think it ticks all the boxes and it does all the things it should.
Could you elaborate on what you said about apartments and citizens?
Yeah, so we've obviously got citizen holders, apartment holders, district holders. Again, one of the things that has continually been mentioned is, when are we going to start getting transactions and volumes through that will allow us to be able to really sort of see that user traction and see these people coming in and see more uptake. So what we want to do, and we've always had this for the people that have been around since day one, we've always said we look to try and make sure that people that have come in early and supported us are looked after. And so one of the things that we want to do is provide some reward structures. We're heading down the path, as you've seen, with experience points through Plasma, and we're trying to make sure that we're starting to really have the opportunity to, and the focus of rewarding users and people coming in and testing things and trialing things, and that would extend across the whole network. That's really important because, as we've said, when you're building a platform of this nature, you go through the phases, and the first phase is the build, and to get to that point of stability. And as I've used the restaurant analogy a million times, you don't want to open the restaurant up and sing from the rooftops if the kitchen's not ready yet. So we believe that we're rapidly approaching the point where we can start to really open up the doors. We have to work really hard on making sure that onboarding's simpler, and this will actually tie in well with what we're doing, because the whole modus operandus and the focus of this network and chain will be to try and make things simpler for creators and developers, and make the onboarding process into Web3 faster, smoother, and easier. So this is a good way to do that.
Is there a strategy to slow sell the remaining 7% RFOX tokens the team holds, or will it be a free for all at the swap?
No, so the tokens, there's no like team holding of tokens. There's a development fund. This is a question we get a lot, so I'm happy to answer this one. There's a development fund that we've been getting for X period of time, and that's 7 million tokens a month. So, and that comes out unlocked now at the prices that it's been. And this is the part where I want to sort of clarify this misconception as well. People say, you guys don't care about the tokens, and you're happy just to sort of operate as to your own, march to the beat of your own drum and all the rest of it. If you think about what it costs to run a project like ours from a tech perspective, from the staff and all the rest of it, the price that it has been for the last X years doesn't come anywhere near covering what the development costs would cost. So it's not like we've deliberately not focused on that or not paid attention to it. It's a balancing act. It's making sure that we're building the product and we're getting to market. And we know that during the bear market, that's when you've got to build. That's when you've got to hustle. That's when you've got to put things together. So those tokens that had come out had been were for the purpose of development. But as I say, they don't even come close to would come close to covering the costs of what we burn every month. So I think it's a very small amount that's left to come out as well. We'll have a look at exactly what's left to come out.
Alrighty. Next one. So between now and June, will RFOX do any marketing for their end for RFOX and VFOX?
Yeah, I think from the RFOX side of things, we're going to inadvertently get a lot of attention and coverage from what's about to happen. And again, I know what's going to happen, so I'm asking you, please hold your tongues when it comes to this. And one other thing, as you know, we're few of us are Aussies. We've got pretty thick skin. We like feedback, and you know what? When you tell us you could have done this better or you should do this better, we understand that. We're acutely aware. We live, sleep, eat, and breathe this. And as an investor or a person who's watching the project from afar, you might want things to head in a certain direction to better your position or whatever. But we live, sleep, eat, and breathe this. This is our life. This is what we care about more than anything. So it's extremely important that we get this right. And I think from a marketing perspective, we've always been in that conundrum as well, because you guys say, you're not marketing. I don't see anything happening. I don't see what's going on. Some of you know, but we spent a ton of money marketing this year. But we quite often try to market towards getting users in or end users, which encourages more developers to come in. But that doesn't align with the marketing that you're expecting to see. What you're expecting to see is an influencer go, buy this token, it's going to do 1000x and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't help anybody's cause long-term from sustainability or for getting people into the platform using the products and services. What that does is cause temporary pumps that you've got nothing to back it up with. And I've had lots of conversations with people over the years saying, who cares? Just do that. The thing is that you don't stand the test of time, you fall over. We had 12 companies start at approximately the same time as us, trying to do something similar to us, and we're the only ones left standing. And we've built and we've done it tough. But we also understand the phases that you have to go through. And now that build phase is transitioning into a growth and scaling and opening those doors and opening that up. We can't possibly, regardless of how many people we had on our team, ever get the reach and the expansion and the realize the potential of the platform by ourselves. And it was never intended for us to do that. As stated, we always said we'd be the stewards, we'd get things rolling. And the analogy we always used was crypto is kind of like if you have a brand new shopping mall. Imagine walking through a shopping mall and seeing 1 or 2 shops in the mall and a whole heap of guys sitting on plastic chairs where a shop should be. And then you say, what's this shop going to be? And they say, nothing. I'm just trying to make money. I've got no intention of building this stuff out. That's why we didn't just provide a grass plot and say, right, build stuff on the grass. We tried to go that extra length and say, we're providing you tools, a full scale build out of an actual habitable place. So it's important that we got the ball rolling, and it's important that we deliver from the product and the platform perspective. And now we go into the phase of saying, right, we've got a solid foundation on which to build. Now let's look at bringing people in and utilising what we've built so far to attract that wider and bigger audience. It's not an easy task, and I know some of you have tried on the other side of the fence as well to get involved with projects, or it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But and we know that we could, if we had our time again, we'd do certain things slightly differently. But ultimately, I think the big decisions, we've made the right decisions. We're in a very luxurious situation now of having a product that we think has potential coming into what will be the biggest influx of new people to the space that we've seen in our lives.
All right, last one for this set of questions. Does this move to Juice eliminate RFOX Finance, and does this kill initiatives like C11?
It doesn't kill any initiatives at all as far as other projects are concerned. Like I said, I think some of the people that we've talked to in the past, and people have asked us about this before and sort of said, what happened to that person or what happened to that person? A lot of projects that sort of come to you realise that it's much harder than they thought, or we hit a bear market and a lot of them didn't have the funding or the capacity or the ability. And we didn't have the tools at that time to make it easy for them to just pick up and build and deploy cost effectively. They would have had to deploy lots of resources, time and effort, and from our side as well. So I think it's a different ballgame now. It's a different situation. And I think, fast forward 6 months to a year from now, we're going to be sitting in a situation where we turned around and said, in hindsight, this looked like it was really well orchestrated and executed from day one. But ultimately, this is not easy. It's not easy to sit there for 18 months and say, right, we know we're going to transition to this, but when's the right time? So, the team's been under tremendous pressure to try and get a stable platform to market and make sure that we've got something of value. And we've tried to hold off as long as we possibly can before we roll this out, and knowing that the market wasn't the right time. And just on Baltic Badges, sorry, it just popped up. I'll just say that. I just want to make one point clear as well, that the team that we've got, I know it's easy to be emotional and it's easy to be upset and it's easy to see what appear to be faster cars passing you on the highway. And it's as frustrating for you as it is for us when people say, this is a quality project and it's not getting listed on Binance or whatever. How come absolute shitcoins get listed and you guys can't? What's going on here? There's no conspiracies. It's a matter of we don't control that process. We've been told blatantly, point blank, by several of the bigger ones that, we've got most of our tokens in the market. A lot of those guys look for a little percentage in the beginning when you're starting up and a chance to make their money from your project. So we've been around for a long time. This sort of changes that. This makes this much more appealing to people listing tokens as well. It gives us much more potential and an opportunity going forward. So it really does a lot of stuff. But when I hear people say, oh, this team, this team, what are they doing with this? Or why do they do that? Or that team sucks or whatever. Don't ever blame the team. The team worked really hard. We give them clear direction. We've had a couple of really amazing hires in the last couple of years that have come in and helped put in a lot of structure and process that ideas people like me don't necessarily have some of that structure that's needed from a technical perspective. So we've had people that have really taken this project to the next level and provided what you can see today, and through hard and conscientious work. I think that the part that's sort of frustrating for you guys and for them is they don't see their hard work rewarded because it's being measured against a token price which is largely in the market, and people are assuming that we control that narrative or that price and everything, when in actual fact you would know if it's predominantly in the market, 93% of it, that's not us. So ultimately speaking, if you've got issues with anything that RFOX does as a company, direct them at me by all means. Tell me where we can improve. Tell me where you think a decision was made that could have been better. But ultimately, it's not the team. They're just following orders. So that's an important point to note, that the blame and the that lies with me. If there's anything that's good that comes out of the project and anything that you love, that's not me. That's the team. So it's just important that we understand that going forwards, because these guys work bloody hard and they all want the same thing as you. We all benefit from the same things. We all want the same things. And tonight is about showing you that for the last 3 or 4 years, we've really listened to every word that you've said. And we've spent a long time working out how to make sure that that all works out for you. Because if we continued through this cycle and through this market, and you said, you're still not marketing the right way, there's no reward. You can't match these people with incentives and all the rest of it. We all know how that would go. So ultimately, this is the 100% the correct way to go to help us to continue to carry out our vision, but to also make sure that you guys are rewarded for your patience.
Alrighty, so I'm just going to update everybody about what's going to happen after I finish up these next 6 questions. There will be a specific chat that will be created for everyone to drop in questions, to get the links, and to get all the details that we have shared today. I understand that there are a lot of things that most of you want answered, but again, we need to be a little bit cautious at the time at the moment. As and when, we will definitely be addressing those questions in the channel. I will be sharing everything again on the announcement page, and I'll be up a little bit later if you guys need any help with that. So I'm just going to go ahead with the next final 6 questions. Yep, sure.
Just before you do that, so anything to do with RFOX and VFOX and the transition, come to us. If it's about Orange and you want to learn more about the network or whatever, go across to the social channels. There's a team of people that are there that can answer questions or get you answers. But ultimately, one thing that we've heard many times is, if I was in charge of this project, this is what I would do, or this is how I would do it. When you're talking about a network like Orange, you will get that opportunity to put things up for proposal and like I said, it's not supposed to be, and that's why we have to be very careful talking about stuff. It's not supposed to be a centralized core small group of people making decisions that determine the value. It should be a much wider base contributing and determining that value, and that's exactly what you guys are going to be. So yeah, that's important. Sorry, Lala, go.
No worries. Thanks, Ben. All right. So next question, I'm just going to go right to it. So if we hold juice, we are no longer invested in RFOX or the vault.
You will hold the juice token which is part of the Orange network, which will be very much a part of the vault as well. The vault will still have its NFTs, its apartments, its districts, all the rest of it. It just means that the token that is taking a considerably long time to realise its potential utility is going to be swapped out for something that will realise a much stronger utility, much faster, much more widely adopted, and not used by just people in the RFOX ecosystem. It'll be used by people in every ecosystem that builds on the Orange network. So it has a much wider net to cast. And again, we've left all of this open. We're not saying that 580 million tokens will be drip fed at XYZ. What we're saying is, you guys put up the proposals. You guys decide. This is an open network, and your gig. You decide.
All right, next one. The whole concept of the vault shops was contingent to VFOX. So what does that mean for the vault now?
I'm just going to be really honest, because I think that's, like, people don't see what goes into this stuff, but there was hours and days of practicing and what we're going to say and how we're going to deliver this and all the different components and the pieces and all the rest of it. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to say something that sounds a little bit corny to some of you, I'm sure, but ultimately, I and others made promises, and I made a promise to my son that I would build an environment that he would love to hang out, grow up in, utilise, and all the rest of it. We are dedicated to realising that vision. We're much more excited than we were before, because everything was freaking painstaking to build. Now with AI eating the world, we're able to build much faster, stronger, better, and the vault will continue. And to be honest with you all, I'm really looking forward to building a product and getting feedback from product users, and not having to balance as much of the, hey, your token price just dropped X, one wallet dumped. Who's that? What the fuck? This is a shit project. Your metaverse sucks. It's got nothing to do with the metaverse. It's got nothing to do with us. And ultimately, what we want to make sure is that we build an amazing product that people love, that people want to use. And this sort of relieves a little bit of that animosity towards things that are not related to the actual quality of the products and the builds. And like I say, it's not fair on the team either to continually be berated for they're doing a bloody good job, a marvelous job. They're working ridiculous hours. They sacrifice many things to build stuff. They're proud of what they build. I go into the vault with them and I watch them stack pets and jump and climb and giggle and laugh and play. And I think to myself, this is exactly why we built this. It's a completely different world than going onto a chat channel with someone saying, you went down 8% this week and everybody else went up 12%. What are you doing? And I know that people have sort of seen me say, it's up to you guys as well. You've got to do that. This is what we're alluding to. This is something that we're all on the same page. We're all on the same boat. We're all wanting the same thing. Now we've got a chance to do it together.
Alrighties, next one. So RFOX is basically moving away from having its own token. The product will stay and will benefit the Orange network, but no more tokens specifically for RFOX.
Correct. We will
Alright.
inevitably utilize the Orange and Juice tokens for sure. They will be a major player in our space for sure and certain.
Cool. Next one is Juice actively traded now?
Yes. So there's a pool, and again, just to reiterate that point, it's deliberate. There is a small pool set up. There are some very lucrative incentives coming in the next week or so. Depends how long it takes to get that set up for LP provision and providing LP. The reason that that's important is because they're building a brand new community from the Orange perspective that helps us as well, because that's more eyeballs on us. And what that means is that that there will be lots of a deep liquidity pool there as well for when that migration does happen. But again, if you decide you don't want to migrate and you think that RFOX will fly in this run for whatever reason or whatever reason you want to hold, you've got a year. You can make that decision on your own terms if you want to hold and continue, because it'll be supported and traded and all the rest of it.
All right, second last question for this one, it would be, do you expect that this move makes it easier for RFOX to get closer to traditional companies like Apple and Meta for the vault, as you no longer have a token directly tied to your name?
100%. But you guys know my opinion on that. My opinion is that I hate a lot of the structures that are in place. I'm all for opening things up and being more decentralized. I don't like how some of those things operate or are structured, but I also understand that they're big players with lots of eyeballs on them that need lots of that get lots of public scrutiny and have to follow letters of the law to the T. But ultimately speaking, we all know this. That's why we're all here. It's only a matter of time before people relent to and say there's a better way forward and better systems that can come out of this movement, and those will be at the forefront of, as far as I'm concerned, and I probably shouldn't say it, but Play Stores and all of those types of things, they'll be, unless they adapt and change their models very quickly, they'll be dead in a few years. There's much better ways that we can do this, and this is the type of movement that will do that.
Okay, last question. Why do VFOX holders get double the current ratio of RFOX holders?
So VFOX has traded between a certain price range. The idea of VFOX was, and people were looking at sharing in a percentage of transaction volumes that go through. So what we did was we sat down and worked out what was a fair compensation for people that were holding that with those expectations, knowing full well that we have we're drawing a clean line in the sand for now, saying they're all rolling into the same thing. So we're trying to make sure. And again, none of what we do here tonight and none of what we do here going forwards is always going to appease each and every person. They've all got different goals and objectives. But I can say categorically that this move gives everybody an opportunity to move forward positively and strongly in this climate and market and cycle that may not have been there had we continued down the previous path. So what we've tried to do is balance everything. And like I said, people that have bought NFTs in our ecosystem, they would also be thinking, well, hang on, they look great and fit. They've actually got utility. I can actually use them. I can visit them. I can change them. I can be them, the avatars. But that's no good if you haven't got, 100,000 users in there every day and tons of money going through the tills. We're saying we've always tried to find creative ways to look to incentivize people, and we want to make sure that we look after the people that supported us early on. And someone there said, that we've always been sort of forward thinking. Again, this is not so much us being forward thinking. We hinted that we would do this from the beginning. So it's just a matter of getting the timing right.
Alrighty, we're good for the questions. Anyone that hasn't been read, I will compile them and I will actually put it in a new channel that we'll be creating. Please do be a little bit patient with me because there are a lot of things that will be linked to that channel as well as our announcements. All references as well as links will be shared tonight with everybody after this.
And just in closing, guys, thank you so much for your support and trust over all of this time. We've always been here. We've been at the front and we've been building relentlessly. What we understand is that it's not our ship to steer once it reaches a certain point. It's all of our ship to steer. So this is the point where you open things up and you start saying it's everybody's to be involved in and to be a part of. I've already had DMs during this call in relation to a number of things. We've tackled all of them except for the fact that people are asking about roles or jobs through Orange. So the answer to that would be visit the website, because if there's any roles, they'll be posted there. But as stated, I think the general rule or thought process is that they would be transitional types of things and a chance for you to get in and get involved. The whole modus operandus again of the network and the chain is to compensate people for providing tools, infrastructure, and things that make it easier for people to use. So they will be paying and rewarding people for making wallets easier to use, sign-ups cleaner and easier, UIs, dashboards and stuff much easier and more simple. Everybody's concentrating on ZK snarks and roll-ups and trying to come up with a new piece of technology that does new stuff. But what we really have a massive problem with in this space is using the technology that already exists. It's a pain in the ass. In 2015 and 16 and stuff, when I was talking to people about crypto, I'd sit down for 3 hours and try and tell people how to do stuff and how to get on board and all the rest of it. I spend the exact same amount of time today. Identical. Nothing's changed. There's just more rabbit holes and more things to get involved in, and we've just built a myriad of useless products on top of technology. And because the payday and the compensation for a lot of these things is immediate, whereas it wouldn't be in a stock listed company or something, there's no incentive for people to actually fix broken structure. There's just incentive for people to come up with new ways to DeFi the shit out of things to make more 100x opportunities and all the rest of it. Whereas there's a severe lack of people focused on making it easier for people to get into this space. It's embarrassing. I've done turnarounds my entire life and I've never seen a space stay as complicated and as hard to use as this space. And as I said, what's the motivation for people to try and make it easier? They're compensated gloriously for coming up with a new pork or a shitcoin fork of a meme coin something or other. Just pay some influencers and get people to talk about it and worry about that when people are left to carry bags. So yeah, we're pretty passionate about getting this right. All I ask for is a little bit of patience. Get in there and have a look at what this means and what this could mean. And I ask you one last thing as I say thank you very much for your time tonight. I say one last thing, and that is look at what we're proposing and putting forward to you today. Compare that to what you are getting at this current point in time. And I think the choice is clear. There's no choice. It is obvious. This is exactly what needs to happen at this particular point in time. And it is the opportunity that we've all been waiting for to try and really capitalize and get some shared wins. We have the exact same objective as you. Thank Thank you so much for attending, guys. I really, really appreciate it, and we look forward to answering your questions. The awesome team over there will answer all the Orange-related questions for you as well. And again, don't get angry when they market the hell out of Orange that we didn't do the same. Completely different types of things and different timings and different time and place. So, yep. Thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate your time.
Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks, Vinny.
Night, everyone.
Yeah.
No cogs, teas.
Sleep well.
That's coming Friday.
Stay safe, guys.
Thanks, Matty.